Hello, I'm Ekstrom.
And I'm Stacey.
And this is our project for CSCI 467. It's our Sportz subscription system. If we look here first, we currently have the application for the subscription. At first we have the types of application, the individual or corporate. By switching between them, the subscription form will automatically change. So here we're going to flip back to the individual, and we're going to begin filling out a form here. The first step is the application information, which is simply things like your name, email, and phone. We're going to have these filled out, and we're going to move on to the street address. So we start moving out the street address, and if we look to the right, we also have the billing address. In this case, if we want to keep them the same, we can check the little checkbox. It'll automatically transfer everything over for us. It'll lock the fields as well so that you can't type into them. And as you type into the fields on the street address, it'll automatically transfer everything over for you. So now we move on to the payment information, and so we start with the credit card number. Moving on to the cardholder name. We have the type of credit card, which is a drop-down list. It lists the different types of credit cards that are accepted. We can choose one, and then we can move on to the expiration date, which is automatically forcing you to move into the month, year format. Move on to the start date, which has a calendar to allow you when you want to choose to start your subscription, and then you have your duration in years. We go ahead and attempt to submit, and we get an error. In this case, the phone number must be exactly 10 numbers, so we mistyped that, and we can go ahead and change that. Each field is checked to make sure that it is not blank, it contains information, and that it is the correct size for the field. The start date is also checked to make certain that it is not in the past, since you must start in the future. So we go ahead and submit in this case, and the application submission was successful, and so now we go ahead and move on.
So now we pull up the approved subscription page, and now we have a drop-down that allows us to choose the application that we want to approve if we were the manager or the accountant of some type of application structure. So here, as we note, there's Jane Smith, the person that we just added from the previous page, and we have three fields that we see in the drop-down. The first is an ID field, giving us the ID of the application, whether it's a corporate application or individual application, as well as the name of the applicant. So we'll pull up Jane's information here, and now we see that each field is almost exactly the same as the application subscription or application page that we used before, and the name fills out and the email fills out just as before, pulling from the table that we submitted the application to. All of these fields are not able to be typed in, so these are all locked fields, and it allows us just to view the information that we pulled from the table. So in this case, now at the bottom we have three buttons that we can use. We can either cancel, which will give us a prompt to ask us if we want to cancel in case we pulled the wrong subscription, a decline button, which allows us to deny the application and also brings up a prompt once again asking if we want to deny, and finally the confirmation button, which again brings up the prompt asking us to confirm that we want to accept this application. In this case, we're going to go ahead and accept Jane's application because all the information looks correct and in place. So we'll go ahead and accept that, and it will return us back to the drop-down list where we can do the other subscriptions. If we pull down the drop-down, we'll also note that Jane's name does not appear anymore, as her name is now, as her account is part of the system and her application has been accepted.
Alright, and so now we have the sales report page. Each sale is currently grouped by status, so new or renewed subscriptions. Each application we can see has the status, the date, the state, the subscription type, so individual, corporate, or contributor, their last and first names, and if it's relevant, their company name, and as well as the number of copies. Each of the two categories has a subtotal, so in this case the subtotal is by status. And if we go down to the bottom, we can see the grand totals, which are the total number of subscriptions, the total number of copies, and the total revenue. So we can change the grouping types in this case. So if we want to click on state, we can now group things by state. So each group now has its own subtotal for the state. And the totals at the bottom will still be the same, but we can just view this now by state. If we go and we want to click state again, it will switch the order from alphabetical descending to alphabetical ascending. So same information, but simply a different way of viewing it. By clicking on subscription, we can sort by the subscription type, so individual, corporate, and contributor. If we look at the contributors, we can note that their subtotal is $0. This is because they do not pay for their subscriptions. This was the case for all of the other sort types as well, but it's more simple to see it in this instance.
And with that, that is our CSCI 467 project. That was Alex Ekstrom, and this is James Stacey. Thank you once again for letting us present.